Alright, you guys, so we're still about a month away from Star Wars, so I'm going to review a Star Wars related movie, but it's not really Star Wars. So, we're going to talk about Fanboys, and I'm going to review Fanboys, but before I get in to the review, as you guys probably saw all over social media over the past couple weeks or so, there was this guy by the name of Daniel Fleetwood, who was a massive Star Wars fan, and he was terminally ill, he was dying of cancer, and he was really petitioning for Disney and Lucasfilm, J.J. Abrams, and the whole crew and everything. Just let him see the movie Star Wars: The Force Awakens before he dies, because he knew that he was not going to make it. Well, eventually, Mark Hamill and John Boyega and a couple other members of the cast and crew seen this, and everybody was, getting it trending on Twitter and Facebook with the hashtag Force for Daniel. And it's a sad story, and I normally don't talk about things like this because it's not my thing. I'm into movies and stuff like that. But this really is an incredible story, and I'm going to say a few things about Daniel first before I talk about Fanboys, because ultimately this review is dedicated to Daniel Fleetwood. So, all right, before we get into this review, like I said, I don't know this dude at all. Most of us never knew this dude. All we knew about him is that he's a massive Star Wars fan, he's dying of cancer, and he wants to see The Force Awakens before he goes. That's all we knew. And it's a sad story, but on the other hand, I gotta admit that I'm kind of impressed. Because I thought, I was losing all faith in humanity today. I really was. But seeing everybody, all the Star Wars fans, and even like the non-Star Wars fans, I started to notice, were starting to really trying to make this happen for this guy, and they did it. We all did it. Everybody who was a part of it made it happen. J.J. Abrams and Disney and everybody sent him I guess they called it an unedited, unfinished version of the film. He saw a rough cut, basically, of The Force Awakens, and like a day or two later, unfortunately, he died in his sleep. So, I mean, on the one hand, it's sad that it happened, and, that it sucks. It really does. But on the other hand, I'm really, really happy that he got to see the movie before he went. It felt like, he was holding on just to see that movie. And if he had to hold on to December 18th, while he would have tried his damnedest, he knew, and I think we could all tell, that he wasn't going to make it. But luckily, he did get to see the film before he died. Hopefully, he saw it with his wife. And he died in his sleep, so, I mean, he went peacefully. But, he saw the movie, and he was ready. So, this review is going to be dedicated to him, and I just wanted to say a couple things about Daniel Fleetwood. Like I said, I didn't know the guy, but, I got a little bit of hope left for humanity. Yeah, rest in peace, Daniel Fleetwood. And now let's talk about Fanboys, the movie. And the reason I wanted to do this review mainly was because, okay, it's a movie I haven't seen in a while. I just bought it not too long ago, and I rewatched it again. And it's been years since I watched this movie, but I wanted to say a few things about Daniel first before this review, because this is basically like, you could say, oh, they should make a movie about what happened, and make a really interesting story. It did happen. They made this movie. This movie came out in 2008, 2009-ish, and I can't remember the exact year. It was either 2008 or 2009. It's directed by Kyle Newman, and it's starring Sam Huntington, Kristen Bell, Dan Fogler, which is really funny. You've seen him in a lot of comedies. Jay Baruchel, Seth Rogen, and there's some cameos by other people in here, which I'm sure I'll talk about a couple of them. But, yeah, the overall story of this movie is we meet these group of friends, and they're all massive Star Wars fanboys. And one of them is terminally ill, and he's dying, and he wants to see Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, before he dies. So these group of friends decide they're going to travel across the country, break into the Skywalker Ranch, George Lucas's house, and they're going to go steal The Phantom Menace. They're going to go steal a copy of The Phantom Menace so he can watch it before he dies. So that's why I'm dedicating this review to Daniel Fleetwood. So let's talk about Fanboys. is a comedy movie. It's involving Star Wars. It's not really a Star Wars parody. It's just about a parody on the Star Wars fans, I guess. But yeah, what I think of this movie is it's hilarious. Like I said, I haven't seen it in years. Like as I was watching it, I was like, okay, I remember this part. I remember this part. But then there's a couple parts in here. I was like, I don't remember this. So it was really good to go back and rewatch this again. And I think Daniel Fleetwood kind of, is the inspiration for making me want to watch this again. So thank you, Daniel, for that. But yeah, Fanboys. Let's talk about some of the cast. Well, I mentioned his name earlier. Sam Huntington, which you guys might recognize from Detroit Rock City, or if you're a Disney fan or Tim Allen fan, you might remember him from an old '90s Disney flick called Jungle the Jungle. Yeah, he's also in like 9/13 movie and a couple other things like that. He does a lot of like comedies and shit. He's funny in this movie. Dan Fogler, who is hilarious, and I can never remember his name, but I can always remember his face. He's in a bunch of comedies and shit. He's fucking hilarious in this movie too. Kristen Bell, which you guys might recently know as the voice of Anna from Frozen. Yeah, I went there. I brought Frozen up in a Fanboys review. Okay, but yeah, Fanboys. It's just a really entertaining movie, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. If you're not a Star Wars fan, I don't think you'll appreciate it as much. But if you are a Star Wars fan, I think you'll get a lot of appreciation from this. You'll laugh out loud a lot. Like I said, there's a couple great cameos in here who you'll just be like, oh, that's awesome, A lot of cool cameos in here. So, yeah, Jay Baruchel is funny in this movie. Like, the whole cast is funny. It's very, very well written. The directing is good. Like I said, it's directed by Kyle Newman. And the directing of this film is very good. The jokes always work, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. This movie is basically a Star Wars jokes movie. Like, the whole movie is written, and it's filled with nothing but jokes about Star Wars and stuff like that. But it's great. It works. And let's talk about a couple of the cameos. And I'm not going to explain like the context of where they show up or anything in here, but there are a couple cool cameos that I have to mention. Hopefully, if you have not seen the movie, these cameo appearances that I list off will maybe motivate you to watch this movie. Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia herself, makes a cameo in this movie. Billy D. Williams, that's right, Lando himself makes a cameo in this movie. William Shatner, who you're being like, okay, why is a Star Trek cast member in a movie about Star Wars? It's really funny, you have to check it out. Seth Rogen is in this movie a couple different times. He plays like 2 or 3 different characters. Danny McBride's in here for a minute. Craig Robinson's in here for a minute. Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, that's right, Jay and Silent Bob. Yeah, those guys are in this movie. And if you guys ever seen Clerks 2, the Kinky Kelly and the Sexy Stud, that guy, he makes an appearance in this movie too. So yeah, a lot of great cameos in this movie. A lot to look forward to. It's absolutely funny. I love it. And like I said, I haven't watched it in years, but revisiting this, I'm glad I bought it. I really am. And I'm glad there was some stuff I didn't remember about it because there's a lot to be enjoyed with this movie. So Fanboys, it's really, really fun. It's a great one to watch around the time a Star Wars movie's coming out, or even if it's not like when a Star Wars movie's coming out. I still think it's a good watch. As long as you're a Star Wars fan, you'll appreciate it. Like I said, if you're not a Star Wars fan, you probably won't appreciate it as much, but I think you'll still laugh here and there. It's funny. It's enjoyable, and I know the actual review itself is a little bit short, but yeah. What do I think of Fanboys? Like I said, I love it. It's hilarious and stuff like that. All stuff I already just said. But my grade for Fanboys is I'm going to give Fanboys, I'm going to give it a solid B. Yeah. Yeah. A solid B is fair. It's really, really fun. It's a lot of fun. That's really much all I can say about it. And if you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't seen it, check it out. I definitely recommend it, especially after the whole Daniel Fleetwood thing. I think it'll kind of touch your heartstrings a little bit. Because the first time I saw it, it was before the whole Daniel Fleetwood thing. I mean, it was good, but, all that stuff about the terminally ill, the whole plot there, I mean, it was alright. It worked for the movie, but it really had no emotional attachment to it. After the whole Daniel Fleetwood thing, it kind of pulls at your heartstrings a little bit. So that's another element right there in itself that, it really works. So, Fanboys, giving it a solid B. What do you guys think of Fanboys if you've seen it? Comment your thoughts on the video down below. Like the video, share, and subscribe. Just do it!